Okay, we're going to get started on our Pima County Board of Supervisors District 4 debate, and we have not drawn for the order for that yet. Ms. Pauline, our timekeeper, can you pull a name for me? Okay, and she pulled Steve, so we are going to start off first with Supervisor Steve Christie with his opening statement. Steve is asked to use a podium. He's communicated very well about it, so he's absolutely able to do that. He's not going rogue here on us.
I have to ask the timekeeper's indulgence for two things real quick. One is to acknowledge Representative Gail Griffin. She was instrumental in getting a water line to the Mount Lemmon Fire Department that helped control the fire up there, and it would have been much, much worse for structures. So Representative Griffin, thank you so much for what you did to help save Mount Lemmon. We appreciate it. The second thing I'm asking indulgence for is a tradition that I started when I ran the first time for supervisor, and that is to acknowledge my opponent, Mr. Backer's military service, his dedication to his country, and to his sacrifice of his time, his life, and his energy to protect our country. So John, thank you for your dedication to America. We appreciate that. I feel I deserve to be reelected District 4 County Supervisor for numerous reasons. Let me outline a number of them. When we were still allowed to go to church, my church's pastor recently said about how a church must survive is that the important thing is to keep the important thing the important thing. The same can be said of being a county supervisor. Let me outline a number of my important things. First, my very first vote I cast immediately after being sworn into office was to terminate Chuck Huckleberry's employment contract that would have, in effect, fired him. I pledge now that when his employment renewal comes up again, I will again vote to terminate his employment. 2, I have voted against Mr. Huckleberry's budget every year while in office and did just that again last week. 3, I have voted against every idiotic Democratic-inspired board resolution that came before the supervisors, such as resolutions against the U.S. pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords, resolutions against leaving NAFTA unchanged, resolutions against building a border wall, resolutions banning sex change therapy, resolutions creating safe spaces in Pima County, resolutions shutting down legal gun shows at the Pima County Fairgrounds. All of these meaningless resolutions were obviously attacks on our President Trump. Further, I voted against the county buying a bowling alley, the county buying more soccer fields and expanding Keno Sports Complex. I voted against the county using taxpayer funds to build a January 8th memorial. And I voted against a sales tax. I have been the strongest and most avid law enforcement partner that Sheriff Napier has on the Board of Supervisors, and you can just ask him. I have fought for receiving all Stone Garden grants and other law enforcement monies every step of the way and every single time. I have been the champion of businesses, large and small, especially restaurants, who have faced the brutality of overreaching regulations imposed by the boards of supervisors. No supervisor has spoken more clearly, resolutely, or effectively on the behalf of small businesses than I, as I believe small business is the future of reopening for a strong economy. And I believe in personal choice and personal responsibility, especially when it is dictated to us when and where we must wear face masks. There are more reasons why I should be re-elected, but I think all of you get the picture. Oh yes, one more. I have been an outspoken critic of the county using taxpayers' money to house, shelter, and medicate those individuals seeking U.S. asylum. Pima County should not be in the asylum seeker processing business, and I need to be on that Board of Supervisors again to carry on all of these fights. Thank you.
John, do you want to use the podium? No. Okay, and our other candidate for Pima County Board of Supervisors District 4 is John Backer.
Thank you, everyone. I'm not going to be using a podium today because I believe the most important thing you're hoping to glean from these discussions, these debates, is what's in here and what's in here. I think that's best accomplished by me speaking from the heart, no prepared statements. As of right now, I have no idea really what I'm going to say, but thank you for coming, and I am running to be your supervisor for two primary reasons. We're taxed too much, and we're not getting good value for our taxes. Now, I would like to thank Steve Christie for his kind words, and some people have a little heartburn with me challenging a sitting Republican. I think that's a fair thing to question. And I think, generally speaking, if the Republican in office is doing everything you think they should be doing, it's madness to try to do that. I think although Supervisor Christie and I agree on a good number of things, there's some things that we don't agree on, and I think it's healthy to have this type of debate, this type of challenge to hold our candidates accountable. And I don't believe that you have freedom without choice. So by having a choice in candidates, exercise your freedom. I started a career of problem solving personally when I was 13 years old. My parents were getting divorced. The result of that was I was virtually homeless and went hungry for days at a time. I had to figure out a way to get through high school. And then I had to figure out a way to get to college. And when I submitted the paperwork to try to get financial aid, I unfortunately found out my father hadn't filed taxes in 12 years, and they told me, we can't help you. So another problem to overcome at a young age with not a lot of guidance from my family. That's what led me to serve in the military. And I served at Davis-Monthan as an aircraft electrician, and served in the Guard, worked on the A-10 and the F-16s. And then I went into the corporate world, and I've spent 30 years basically solving problems professionally. I've worked numerous technology jobs, all levels of management, most recently working for IBM, where I spent 10 years traveling the world and America, helping make sense out of large amounts of data with visual analytics to help do things like fight terrorism and find fraud, waste, and abuse. So although I have a lot of respect for Supervisor Christie, I hope what you get out of this today is where we are different. I think when I'm trying to build a bridge with someone else, we usually look for where we're similar. And I think we have a lot of similarities. But in this case, you need to know how we're different and how electing me would be different than electing the current supervisor. Thank you very much.